let's have a look at maybe the last segment of our Ligue 1 preview, the questions that were asked under the tweet that we put on yesterday. Tom Abadie asked us two questions. The first one, is there any chance Lyon could be European next season, or do you see the off-the-field issues troubling the team, leading to Blanc sacking, departures in January, and fall from grace, as we saw with Bordeaux? Big questions, but best of luck recording. Just the apocalyptical version of what we were saying earlier, Tom. That's a pretty good one. On a lighter note, though, Tom is asking who are some of the breakout stars for this year. Ben Seguir should get some playing time. Warren and El Arouche possibly. Seem like Lille could have a few nice ones. The first question first about Lyon. I guess we kind of touched on it when we talked about Lyon and can they do it and can they not do it. We both think that they're going to be there or thereabouts. But out of Europe, 7, although at the time, what would it be? Would it be Europa League at the time? You had them behind 7 or you had them 6?
I had them 7th. Yeah. I mean,
you had them 7. I had them 6 too.
I mean, they do have talent in the squad, and they did perk up a bit towards the second part of last season under Blanc. It didn't always look convincing, but in terms of results, they were a bit better. So yes, there is a world in which they perform better, and actually Aulas shuts up a bit and finally realizes that Textor has control of the club, and the DNCG is pleased with what Textor does, and actually the squad is less bloated and everybody feels just a bit better, right? That is the positive case for the Lyon season, and it can happen. I think we've both put them at 7th because we just have doubts, and we're not really sure what we're going to get. But this season, I feel, is just so open. Even out, I'm going to say even outside the top 3, but even the 2nd and 3rd place, we're not 100% sure that we're not sure Marseille and Rennes are definitely going to be 2nd or 3rd, right? I think that's Lyon are in that 2nd/2B category of Ligue 1 at the moment, and that can go as high as 4th or 3rd to as low as 10th in my book.
What's the threshold for Laurent Blanc being sacked? Let's look at the calendar. the first 4 games: Strasbourg, Montpellier, Nice, Paris. And then there's an international window. Then you got a series: Le Havre, Brest, Reims, Lorient. Then there's another international window. And then you got Clermont, Marseille, Metz, Rennes, and another international window. You got 3 windows there. One of them finishes with a game against Paris, another one a game against Lorient, and another one a game against Rennes. 3 moments where Blanc can basically be fired. Do you think after those 4 games, the first one, Strasbourg, Montpellier, Nice, Paris, do you think if he doesn't have 6 points there, there's a chance they start threatening the sack?
I think after 4 games, unless you have a really dramatic/traumatic start to your season, 4 games is a very short amount of time. I mean, it's 1/9 of the season, right? You've basically played not even 10% of the season. Obviously, if they grab no point out of those 4 games, yes, the pressure will be on. I think they will be looking at out of the first 4 games. If you were Lyon, you would be
7 points.
If you're looking at 10% of your season, right? So you're going to have 9. You're looking at a season where you want 60 points at least. If not, between 60 and 70 points. So if you've got less than 6 points after 4 games, you're in trouble. I think it's more around at the end of that second run of games that the pressure would really start kicking in. If you've got less than 1.5 points per game, after 8 games, then you're in trouble if you're Lyon. What do
That
you
would
think?
be with. I think a big game could make the difference. A Marseille-Lyon or a Rennes-Lyon, because I feel like fans, at least, the pressure mount, and then if you mess up on a game where you shouldn't be messing up, then it's a problem. It's almost lucky for them that they don't end up with one of those games at home, except Lyon, Paris Saint-Germain. That's why I was stopping at Lyon, Paris after 4 games, because Strasbourg, Montpellier, Nice, those are all tricky games. And if you don't get 7 points there, if say you lose at Strasbourg, which would be fair, the very first game of the season, Strasbourg's trying something new. If you lose that one, then you're hosting Montpellier and you only draw because it's hard. And then you go to Nice and you're not winning, and then you receive Paris and you lose. Now you had a pretty catastrophic start of the season, and now there's 2 weeks before it comes back. We've just seen Textor firing the coach at Wallenbeck, who had a good season last year. So I wouldn't be surprised if anything happened. But again, the fact that he doesn't have to play the Champions League, I feel like anything short of basically an average of 2.5, I'd say 2 points minimum per game, is going to be in trouble.
And I think there'd be even more pressure if in the first few games the content of the game is really poor.
Yeah, exactly. If you don't even play well at the beginning of the season.
Because there's an expectation at Lyon that you also play good football, right? So if you combine, I mean, it's an obvious thing to say, but if you combine poor results with poor style, because people can live with poor style, but you get the points, especially early on in the season where you just go like the onus is on getting points early, and then we just need to get past August, and then that's when things start to flow. It's the end of the transfer window, etc. But if they don't look great on the pitch, which they didn't, frankly, under him in the second part of the season, I know they got results, but they weren't really, ecstatic to watch. So he's going to be under pressure anyway.
Breakout star this year. The second question of Tom Abadie. Give me 2. We're not going to get 5 out. Give me 2 that from your research from the off season you think 2 breakout stars. Could be players that we already know and that are going to hit a new dimension, or could be just people who just arrived.
So I'm going to go with 2 centre backs. One, so I'm going to go for Lenny Yoro of Lille, because I think he will have opportunities. I was thinking about Désiré Doué, but I think there's so much competition there that it might work against him potentially, so especially at the start. I think Lenny Yoro at Lille, I mean, he played games last year when he was barely 16. He looked pretty good. He looked relatively raw in terms of, you can tell concentration, it's difficult, but in terms of pure raw skills were there. He didn't look out of place at all. And I think we've talked about Jallo being out, Fonte's gone, Diakite might play as a fullback. He might be asked to play, and I thought he looked really good. And then the second one, which again I've also talked about, but Ismaël Doucouré of Strasbourg, I think he just looked so calm last year, and there was a difficult context last year, and he just stepped into the side, right back, centre back, holding mid. He just looked very comfortable, good on the ball, very composed, good physical presence. I think he's got, I was very, very impressed with him.
Okay.
What about you?
I'm going to stay away from the defense then. The first one that I anyway wanted to talk about, and I sort of like purposely didn't talk about it when we talk about his team. Cherrendour, who joined Paris Saint-Germain. I don't know if you've seen him. He can be messy, of course, right now. The video of him losing the ball in the box against Osaka, and Osaka scoring by Shinji Kagawa, blast from the past, is making the rounds. But he just looks like a force in the middle of the park. He's stronger, faster, taller than anybody around him, and he looks like he could be such an asset for Paris Saint-Germain, something that I don't have. Does he have the brains, the head, the shoulders to be able to be the guy who's the defensive midfielder at Paris Saint-Germain? This is what's going to sort of make or break him. But I think in Ligue 1, if he's spared for Champions League in Ligue 1, he could really be somebody who can create the difference and who can just impose himself and his styles to everybody else around. So he's one that I think was a player that I think maybe unsurprisingly, because he's supposed to be good already, but I think we're going to get to know him the nice way. And then the second one, I think it's going to be tricky because it's going to be busy. But Aruna Sangante, actually, I do have a centre back at Le Havre, who's only 21, and who just made it in Ligue 2, which to me is probably the hardest division to be a defender, just kind of like Championship versus EPL in England, and made it through that whole series with Gauthier Loris and Arthur Desmas and I can't remember his first name, Operi as well, to keep all those clean sheets and all that very strong defense. He's a soldier. He just he's not afraid of putting his body onto the line. He's actually very safe ball to feed. He's quick, and he has still, as you would expect from a 21-year-old defender, those moments where it's not the right pass and the dribble probably is not needed there. But I think for a player his age to be in a defense where everybody wants to score a goal to you and to keep your composure and to do that, and I think his discipline, or mind you, 11 yellow cards. But yeah, I thought the way he was defending was pretty serious as well. 11 yellow cards in 35 games. It's not the best discipline, but that's the 3 games that he missed basically came from there.
And I think just a couple of other names, just because it's always fun, and just because it came to mind when you mentioned Sherando, Warren Zaïre-Emery feels like this could be. He might have some opportunities this year. He's obviously very highly touted.
You hope
so hoping to see him. And then a bit older, but I'm looking forward to the second season, is Thijs Dallinga of Toulouse. Because he looked pretty good last year.
Thijs Dallinga. I had a few in Toulouse. Christian Caceres, I think, can actually do something good. Denis Genreau could maybe translate into what we expect. Suazo as well at left back. I was also thinking like a guy like Lucas Chevalier who could like finally break out. Even Brice Samba, we know he's good, but now he's going to play Champions League. So he's like he could have his moment to join any club if he does that well.
Yeah, and to be fair, I don't know about you, but I've looked at it more from a sort of breakout, being a young player breaking through,
as well.
right? But there are players that I think that we both like, that who are not under 21s who I'll be keeping an eye on. I quite like Joris Chotard at Montpellier. I think he's pretty decent. So there's also players like that who might break through, just have a really, really good season compared to previous years.
Thomasson, Demengue.
Yeah, Thomasson he's always there.
But it'll be different in the Champions League level.
Yeah.
All right. We had another question on Twitter. Liam Wraith asking, who will be the surprise package of the season? That's a pretty broad question. I'll let you decide how you want to answer it. Baptiste, I'm going to answer it by picking a team.
Yeah, I'm picking a team as well. I took that as which team is gonna surprise us the most, right? So I guess based on my ranking, I'm looking at Strasbourg. Just a combination of youth. Patrick Vieira in his first season, he tends to do quite well. There's some good talent there. They seem pretty relatively complete as a squad. That's the one I could see That's the one I could see doing well. Yeah.
I'm going to pick Le Havre. I'm going to pick Le Havre because I feel like it's a team that is going to have their Lorient moment or their Angers moment, where like for whether it's at the beginning of the season that they win 6 in a row or somewhere in the middle of the season, I think there's going to be a moment where everybody is going to be like, oh, this team is just the best team we've ever seen. And then, they're going to still finish where we predicted, fighting to make sure they don't get out of relegation. But I think where there'll be the surprise is just every year we kind of expect now that a team from Ligue 2 has done the job well and gets out there. But it's still very nice to see a club this old just doing the job the right way and coming out of nowhere, this Russian international who might help them to do so. But yeah, I think, like I said, I really drank the Kool-Aid of Mathieu Bodmer and what he's doing up there. But yeah, I think I think Le Havre could be that surprise package this year. I think, to be honest, probably going to be 6 or 7 teams who are going to surprise us positively and negatively.
And I and I don't think we can overstate that if they stay up, the sheer fact of staying up means that Clermont will be a standout performer. Like if Clermont finished the season, anywhere above 15th, that's still a remarkable achievement. So that would remain a surprise that they stay up. If they stay up comfortably, that would remain a surprise to everyone in a way.
I have a bonus question for you, Baptiste, because we did it last year, and I wanted to keep that one for the very end. Which one's the first coach who gets fired?
Yes. I've got what, like three nominees, right? I can give three names.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna go Pierre Aristouille. Which we shouldn't laugh about these matters, but yeah.
No, it's not funny. This is no disrespect to any individual.
I think Pierre Aristouille from Nantes, and not necessarily due to him. I think it's just due to the chaos around and the outsized expectations that the Kitas have about Nantes every year. I'm going to go with Farioli of Nice because I don't know what Ineos expect. And if I look at the side now, so maybe a different mindset in a month's time, maybe depending on who they get. And then I think I'm gonna go for Lolo White just for pure bants. Like Laurent Blanc, I just want to end on like a funny note. I think Laurent Blanc, I'm hoping for him and for Lyon that I've always quite liked that it works well, but I think if he gets sacked, then it's just going to be an absolute free for all at Lyon, and that would be like sad, but as a neutral, also kind of entertaining because I think everybody would just, I mean, Olas would just go nuts. Texto will be like, "Why am I here?" Vincent Ponceau and Bruno Cheroux will say something. Like it will just be utter chaos. So yeah, I think those are my three. What about you? Did you have it different candidates?
Yeah, actually, we have Aristouille. I think we agree with Paris. So he almost looks like it's bound to happen. Unfortunately for him, and that's just because he's on the wrong club. And then I think Eric Roy of Stade Brestois.
Yeah.
And Carles Nouvel of Toulouse, because I think if Toulouse doesn't get the first half of the table, basically, or doesn't play the football that they were playing under Philippe Montagnier, it's going to be really hard for Carles Nouvel to keep his job. And he doesn't have enough experience to back up the fact that people should give him time. So I know Toulouse is a team, a squad, a staff, a team that usually works well together, and I'm sure like Komoli wouldn't fire him just like that. But if the results don't come at the end of the day, points talk. So he needs to get good results. So yeah, Aristouille is in there, but yeah, I think Eric Roy and Carles Nouvel are my other shouts for the first club, unfortunately, finding itself without a coach.
Safe bets.
Baptiste, safe bets. I know, safer than normal. Baptiste, thank you. Look at us. Ligue 1 preview done and dusted. Of course, we'll have those episodes split if you're listening to them one after the other. I'll make sure I put all the timestamps in the description as well. And Ligue 1 is back.
Ligue 1 is back
in France at least. Marseille against Panathinaikos midweek, and then at the end of the week, the first round of our Ligue 1. And well, yeah, for one, I'm looking forward to see who those newcomers are. Those Le Havre and those Metz. What can they do? And starting the season with Marseille Reims is always something enjoyable as well. It's at 1 a.m. here in Australia. How am I going to watch the first game Marseille plays? Anyway, we'll have to make choices. Start to make choices early.
Well, good luck with that.
Thank you. Thanks, Baptiste. A pleasure having you on the show as usual. And you know, I look forward to some more, and I look forward to next year and being able to see how wrong we were in our predictions.
Amen to that, and thank you for having me as ever.
Take care, man, and everybody comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and don't hesitate if you have any questions after listening to all that. You can find Baptiste at Le Classic Pod on Twitter, and find me at Jérémy_Pagan. Thanks everybody, and allez l'OM.